Hello, this is Alex. I'm here to explain another traffic layout that I made up recently. It's not completed as far as me going through and trying to figure out the best optimal way to get the traffic through, but I wanted to show you at least what I've done so far, and I'll try to explain the best I can as what I've done so far. Um, Things will probably end up changing on this one as far as like the number of lanes or the timing and so forth. But at least I give you a good idea of what I've done so far. Okay, so on this one, um, let's start with the intersection number 6 and 3 here. So I've got these tied together in the sense that they both are 60 seconds long in timing, and um, we'll go through look at this one, the top one. So it's an actuated coordinated, um, and it's on the reference phase 2-6 in reference to the beginning of the green cycle, and the offset is seconds. So what that means is if I look at phase 2 and 6, the start of the green, and go back 30 seconds, um, that's where the true starting point is for that cycle. I'll show you the other one. So this section 3, the 2 is actuated coordinated and cycle length of 60. And this reference phase is 7, which happens to be left turn. So eastbound heading northbound. And if I look at it, says reference to beginning green, offset 48 seconds. So if I go from this start point and go back 48 seconds, which happens to be this very start, um, that's my start line, basically. Okay. Um, so in this scenario, if 7 is my reference phase, I've set these as C-max. That means phase 7 will occur at least 12 seconds long, but might be longer if these other phases end up not utilizing their full cycle length. Okay. And these I've also linked together, but they've been linked as one cluster. So these two represent the two signals together, and they're tied together that way. Well, I do also have it actuated coordinate as well, but they're tied together through the clustering as well. So one color represents what's happening for uh, the intersection on the left, and the other one is for the intersection on the right. Okay. Then I've got a stop sign intersection here. So left and or east and westbound have to come to a stop, where the northbound right and left turn direction uh, don't have to stop at all. And then down here, these I don't think I've set those up for, no, yeah, so these are actuated uncoordinated, so there is no, they're fully triggered by the traffic that ends up existing. Okay, so now if I were to run this, this is what it looks like once it's going. So basically what I've done is with most of my layouts, I set up a volume of time that is 3 times the normal volume that I've set up and configured. And then the remainder of the time is set a quarter of the volume. So only 25% of the volume exists while it's running. I'll show you how I've set that up. So the first thing I got to do if I want to set that up is I got to create a CSV file that contains the current timings. I'll show you that right now, how to do that. With the version of Synchro that I have, I can only export up to 10 intersections or utilize up to 10 intersections. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I'm fine. And what I do is, the first thing I do is I go to my network settings and make sure my volume is set to growth factor of 1 for everything. And then I go over to transfer, data access, version 6 data access. And yeah, that's fine to save the file. So if you don't have the right volume showing immediately, then obviously you want to go over to the right volume tab, and then what I do is I say select, and now because I already have this file in existence, I'm just going to use 35A. Actually, I probably have that already in there, so I'm going to delete it, recreate it. I'm actually using 35, but I mean just using 35A as a to show what it looks like when I'm done. So I click open, even though the file doesn't exist yet. It's when I click right that it creates the file. When I first come in here, it shows me a time of 1700 hours, but I always change it to 7 a.m. just because I prefer to work that way. I guess just preference. The date I don't touch, it's whatever it ends up being. It doesn't matter to me. It's not that critical. This is all just for fun anyway. And I make sure that entire network is selected. So when I've all that's done, I click right, and close. And now through, for me, it's easier to work with these CSV files through Excel. So you can of course use Notepad or WordPad or whatever other program, but I find it easiest to manipulate through Excel. Now you don't change it to an Excel file, you leave it in the CSV format. So right now as it got created, it's showing the 7 a.m. time slot for the different intersections, and it's showing the volumes and the different directions that I've got set up. So what I do is I copy that and I paste a copy of it 2 times below. Okay. Then what I do is, so that the bottom 2, I set up the timing and the volumes, and the top one is just a reference. So down here where it says 700, I change that to 710 because I want 10 minutes of the heavy volume, and then the remainder will start at 710 for the light volume. So in the heavy volume section, I'm going to make it equal to whatever is showing up above times 3. So it's now 3 times the volume of what's the setting is up above. If I drag the formula down and across, it copies in such a manner that now everything is identical to the setup on top, except everything is times 3. Then I do the same for the bottom, now making this the wider volume of information. So I say equals the top divided by 4. And then again, I copy that across, or down first and then across. Okay, so now I've got my volumes that I want. Now I have to get rid of the first step here, but before I can delete it, if I delete this now as is, all these values I just created are going to go away. So make sure that they stay. I'm going to copy and paste value on top of itself. That way I don't lose the numbers when I delete this top.
Okay, and then I just delete this one empty row that I created, which I don't need anymore. Okay, so now all these contain actual values and not formulas. So then I go ahead and close. So I say save when it prompts me, and I say save to that CSV. Do I want to replace it? Yes, I do. And then do I want to keep the workbook in this format? Yes, I do. Okay. So now when I go to run the simulation, I stop it. Then I go to options, interval and volumes. And this is where I set up that the between 7 and 7:10 a.m. I'm going to be using the 7 o'clock volume information, which was the heavier set. And then later on we get the lighter set, 7:10 a.m. And the way I set those up, right now by default these don't come up when you first set up a layout. So what you have to do is go to the data options tab, make sure you've got a check mark next to read volumes from UDF data file, and then you select the file that you just created. And then once you've got that and you go back to intervals, then this is where the 7 and 10 show up based on what you created in the CSV file. So had I said like 7:05 instead of 7:10, then this would have read 7:05. So now I've got that, and the duration is 10 minutes, and then it's 7:10 for 110 minutes. I've got the other volume. So basically it's saying from 7 to 7:10 is the heavy volume, and then from 7:10 to 9 o'clock a.m. got the heavier or the lighter set. And when I let it run, I'll show it in the fast mode here so you can see what's going on. So obviously everything gets pretty congested because of the heavy volumes I've selected from 7 to 7:10. And also the denied entry values keeps going up because obviously it's not relieving the traffic flow as quickly as possible because of the lane restrictions and the timings that I've got set up currently. And so now we've passed 7:10 a.m. mark, and so now things are going to get lighter and lighter again. And you can probably see that with this denied entry, it was above 700, and now it's already going down. It's in the 600 range, and now it's down to the 500 range. So as traffic leaves the screen and new traffic is able to enter, because there's very little new traffic entering, that's why the denied entry keeps going down. And you can already see that from this particular intersection on the right where there's a stop sign, there's no more traffic, well, I shouldn't say no more, there's very little traffic coming from there because it's been emptied at this point. And so it just keeps going down and down, and there's going to come a point where it's all pretty much down to nothing in every direction. And again, my goal is to get it where all the different directions kind of relieve themselves at the same time so that when it's all said and done, this is what it looks like kind of towards the end when it's pretty much light traffic. So that's pretty much it. That's how I use this as a kind of like a game. And yeah, so hopefully next time I will create another video, but it probably won't be for another month or two. But it'll be over one of my favorite layouts that I've created that I really enjoy watching. So yeah, if you got any questions, let me know. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.